So, oops. Einen wunderschönen Abend. Habari zenu. Greetings from Nuremberg. I can see that's a very good number to start, to kick off. We can maybe wait for 3 more minutes. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Rosie, David, Daniel. Yes, good to see you, Pastor Daniel, too. It's a very interesting session. We need knowledge, and knowledge is power. Thank you so much for creating time. I hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. So we decided to close the day with a session, a topic that has affected some of us. And we decided because we are a community, we need to come together and get the knowledge from the experts. We hope to be doing more of these sessions. So this is not the first time because it's like a wake-up call. And so that at least we know how to help each other within the community. We live in a foreign country with foreign systems, but we have people who understand the systems better than we do. We have people who understand our bodies better than we do. And that is why we decided to have the meeting. So I will kick off with the introduction as people join us and also share the Zoom link. Yeah. MG, good to see you. I always call him MG. So I got to know your real names the other day. And Maria is also there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. In fact, after I finished the flyer, and was just like, wow, we're having a medical talk with a Kenyan doctor in Germany. Don't you like the title? Yeah, so I will do a brief introduction and I will introduce the team. I'll also give Pastor Daniel a chance to introduce himself because he has been part of the community in one or the other. It's rare to see you on Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us. So let me kick off introducing myself and then I'll introduce the team. So I am Caroline Mwangi, a passionate community builder. I am Kenyan. Well, I guess most of us are Kenyan. And the co-founder of the AG Career Hub. It is a platform where we feature career and business opportunities, but we also focus on helping each other within the community. So we have built a wonderful community where we help each other. And recently we've had cases of some Kenyans who got ill and unfortunately, some of them never managed to get the medical help on time. And we decided it's good to get the team on board to come and educate us. What should we do? When should we seek help? And when should we stop ignoring our bodies? We come from a culture where we don't have those dialogues with the doctors. We come from a culture where we believe when the doctor gives you medication, then you're good to go. We come from a culture where we don't dig deep to know where is the problem coming from. And we live in an environment where we have all the facilities, we have all the equipment, we have all the knowledge. So all we need is a Schnittstelle, like the translator to tell us when and what are we supposed to do. So we are very honored to have Doki's Advice, Daniel Ogutu, the founder of Doki's Advice. He's a doctor specialized in internal medicine. Please correct me if I say the wrong things, but you'll also have time to introduce yourselves. We have David Thuku Kamau. We've also done several things together, based in Bonn, also a medical doctor. We have Rosie, also a medical doctor. She's finishing her final up. We have Maria, also a medical doctor who is also in the training period, and MG, also who said they are willing to share their knowledge with us. So allow me to welcome them, introduce yourselves, and then we give Pastor Daniel a chance to introduce himself, and then we can kick off with the agenda. Asanteni sana. Daniel.
Oh, yes. Hello, guys. Thank you for joining us today. I see we have over 50 people on the waiting room. My name is Daniel Ogutu. I'm a consultant for internal medicine. Together with me, my colleagues are going to brainstorm on some topics today. After my colleagues introduce themselves, I'll just show you a short presentation of what Doki's advice is all about, so that you have a picture of what we do, and then we'll proceed to the points. Colleagues, just feel free to introduce yourself in a few seconds.
Habari zenyu. Good evening. My names are David Thuku Kamau. Based in Bonn, close to Cologne. And I've been trained here also in Bonn. And I'm passionate about sharing the knowledge that I have. I'm in urology, junior consultant at a hospital here in the city of Bonn. And looking forward to the discussion, looking forward just to share the knowledge that we have, or information that we have that could be helpful for you, for us in general. Thank you very much for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rosemary Ngoti. I am also a resident doctor in my 4th year in internal medicine, and working right now in the nephrology abteilung. And that is whereby we deal mostly on kidney and kidney diseases and prevention of kidney diseases. And I'm passionate about mostly preventative medicine, because that is exactly where, when we are still healthy, so that we don't reach whereby we can prevent the diseases before we treat them. So that is my passion, and I'm here to share everything with you guys and just to educate everyone on preventative medicine. Thank you. Welcome.
Have MG?
Yeah, I thought Maria would go first, but let me just join. My name is Gerald Utieno. I'm based in Bonn. I'm also a resident doctor in neurology. I studied in Düsseldorf, but now I moved in Bonn. Yeah, in neurology, we mostly deal with acute strokes. We deal with Parkinson's diseases. We deal with headaches and hemorrhages, and we also treat. We also collaborate with psychiatrists to diagnose depression and a lot of peripheral defects of the nerve. And yeah, I'm passionate about patient information, the patients with the right information, so that we, as the doctors, or rather as the first view in the emergency room, so that we get to know more about you, but also expect you to tell us more, since you are the experts of your bodies, you are the experts of medicine. And most of the time we work with what you give us, and sometimes we fail to dig in deep and deep and deep. Yeah, that was it.
Hi, I'm Maria. I hope you all can hear me. And I'm a first-year resident doctor also in internal medicine, specifically in gastroenterology. That means from your mouth to your after. That means I deal with everything from your stomach problems, liver problems, and your lower bowels, upper bowels, and yeah, I'm mostly interested in mentoring, informing, and in partnership with Doki's advice with all that. So yeah, I hope we can inform you.
Sorry, Maria, I unmuted you. Please unmute yourself. I muted you. Please unmute yourself and finish up. Sorry.
I think I'm unmuted. Can Can you hear me?
Ah, yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay, karibuni sana. Thank you so much for getting your time. Doki, over to you.
Yeah, like I already said, I'm Daniel. I'm really blessed to have such a great team with us. The reason why I find it important to introduce everyone is because these are the people who impact Doki's advice in one or the other way. I'll be traveling with Rosemary, with Gerald, and with David to Kenya to the next camp. We'll have for the first time a urological consultation in Western Kenya. So Maria is also, all the articles you see on Facebook, on Instagram, she's very impactful and leading this part of Doki's advice. And if there are any doctors who are listening today, you're most welcome to join us. It's a great team. Our aim is to make East Africa a better place. And we can only do this by working together, by informing our people. So Doki's Advice is an organization in Germany, which was developed by us Kenyans. We have a pool of 11 nurses, 6 Kenyan doctors, and other helpers who help us with social media and all of that stuff. Our motto, the main thing, the major thing we are working on is to teach, to train, and to treat. So we are working on a very developed method of helping Kenyans. We teach not only patients, we teach also doctors and nurses, upcoming medical students. And then when we are on the camps, when you're doing our camps, we train them on different techniques on how to go by different things. And then we also treat the patients we meet in the hospitals where we work in collaboration with the Kenyan county government. So I would like to emphasize so that everyone knows, for everyone in Doki's Advice is a place for everyone, for patients, for medical workers, for anyone who is willing to give back skills to Kenya. You're most welcome to contact me. We have been already doing a lot of stuff. As you can see in that picture, we have been teaching, training, doing our camps with different doctors and nurses from the ground and also from Germany. And like I emphasized, I was also in Luaku. We will be this year again training doctors, nurses, clinicians in doing simple treatments or just doing simple diagnostics, which could save lives drastically. And also together with neurosurgeons, today we don't have a neurosurgeon in this group, we'll organize for the next time. We've also been helping patients in Kisumu and treating patients there. We have different kind of programs. I'll just take 2 minutes to introduce this. We have different kind of programs which are developed for our Kenyan society. At the moment, we are basing most of our skills in Kenya, but we will expand as time goes, and the more doctors we have, we will also use the opportunity to get there. We have the patients, a pool of patients who are being sponsored by Germans or by some of my patients, whose medical bills are being covered by. So these are the 5 euro patients where the NHIF are catered for from people abroad. We have the Pamoja program. This is a program where most of us have been involved in. Basically, when we come to a place and treat patients who are able to pay for their bills, and they pay for the consultation or for whatsoever we offer them, this money is used to cater for other patients who are poor and cannot be able to pay their own bills. And then we have the diaspora program, which is most important for the viewers and listeners today. This is a program which helps us, this pool of doctors who are seeing here, to help you get or help your relatives get the best medical treatment at home. So how does this work? Basically, as soon as you know a relative is in hospital or someone has been admitted in hospital and there's a problem and we're not understanding what is happening, we don't know what they're doing, they're almost dying, all of that stuff, that's the moment where you have to get a WhatsApp number and call us and send us a message. And we are the first ones who will get in contact and try to help you together with the doctors on ground to be able to take care of your relatives and to tell you which tests are necessary and even pick out things which most of the time get overseen. So these are major programs for the people living abroad in Europe. You can join the Aspira program. There are different levels regarding on how long we will need to be able to help you with your relative. That's how you can donate basically a sum of money, which will basically be used again for the Pamoja program and for the patients which we treat in our camps. The vacation program are for the members here who say, I have nothing to do with medicine, but I'm a skilled artisan, I'm a skilled worker, I can repair, I can do electrical stuff, I can do this or that, I can build, I'm an architect. The vacation program is a program which they developed in order for people who are not in the medical field, but they still want to give back to home, that they be able to be integrated in our project. Because mostly when we are in the government hospitals, we have broken beds, broken cupboards, toilets, all that stuff you can imagine. And we also need you guys to join us. So it's the Artisans program, which is also new. Those are basically the programs we're working on. And I would just like to tell you after this session, if you have sponsors or you have contacts to people who love to donate, who like to donate to a place where you know where the money is going to 100%, then Doki's advice is the best place to invest, because I am really keen and eager to reduce all of the expenditures which we have. And our expenditures in Doki's advice may be only 1% out of the 100% which you need, because most of the doctors cater for their own bills, for their flights, and all of that stuff. So here, you know that your money or whatever you donate is going to be used to 99% only for the patients who are on the ground and who are needy, to give them the best kind of medical care. I would like to open up the session and give it back to Njoki. The thing is now, I'll just relax. I'll be on the chatting group and I will help answer questions which appear, and I'll let my colleagues raise up their voices. And I would just like to encourage you guys, don't keep any words behind, just say it as it is, and let us help the viewers and the listeners take care of themselves much better and learn more about the preventive medicine. Thank you very much. Back to Caroline.
Oh, thank you so much, Doki, for the wonderful introduction. I've shared your contact details. You can check the website of Doki's advice. It's an amazing work, and I wish we would have 1,000 of such initiatives to share our knowledge back home, to build communities back home. So we have an agenda for tonight. We may not be able to cover everything, but as I mentioned during the introduction, we will we'll be doing several sessions covering different topics. I flipped through the agenda, and then we can start. Sorry, Pastor Daniel, I'll still give you a chance to introduce yourself. So the meeting, we have one of the topics we plan to talk about is prevention medicine, lifestyle diseases. Then we have the red flag symptoms, which I think that has been the trigger of us coming together. And then major life-threatening common symptoms, diseases, when should I rush the doctor, and we also have a topic on how to give an adequate anamnese, and health structure. Some of us do not even know, where do I even start going to the doctor in this country? We have the importance of seeking second opinion. Don't always believe what the first opinion said. Go for the first, the second, the third opinion. And the dangers of familiar mentality, as in, hey, kangumu, all will be well. Hey, we are here to, when the body says no, you have to drop all the ego and say, I need help. And of course, the drug misuse. So those are some of the agendas we plan to discuss today. If you feel uncomfortable to ask a question, we will finish the recording, and then we'll have a time for the Q&A session. So you can comfortably ask your question where the session is not recorded. I hope that is fine with all of you. I've dropped a few links in the chat. We have a wonderful WhatsApp community of Kenyan professionals and students based in Germany, where we share such events. So you feel free to join the group, and hope we can connect much more. So we have also a doctor, another doctor for the soul. Daniel Doki. He has been one of the most influencers I've met in my life. Also, please feel free to introduce yourselves, and so that at least we know you're also in the background.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you, doctors. Thank you, everyone that has come. I am really excited to be with you tonight. And really, I can't wait to hear all the knowledge, the wisdom that doctors have to give us. Very briefly, at the age of 13, almost 14, I almost died. Landed in Kent Bay, and I had almost lost my life. But then I said, oh God, if you heal me, I'll become a doctor so that I can rescue others. But that did not happen. I wasn't very good in sciences, so I did not become a doctor. But what I do now has to do with the soul. My work is to go inside of you to clean up the soul. That scripture put there is very, very, very precious. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health. You see, just as your soul prospers. When you prosper your soul, you prevent so many diseases. So I am very delighted to be with you. And God bless. Thank you.
Asante sana, the doctor of the heart. So the floor is yours. Karibuni sana, daktari. I'll also stay in the background. I'll assist Doki. If there's any question, I can assist. And you're good to go.
Okay, so basically, prevention medicine, lifestyle diseases. I think at this point, I'll just give it to Rosemary. How can we apply more prevention medicine as Kenyans in the diaspora and be able to avoid getting lifestyle diseases? What are the major points we should think about and we should consider? I'll give it back to you, Dr. Rosemary, please.
Thank you, Daniel. Just to start with, what is preventative medicine, or why should we prevent the diseases from occurring instead of us waiting for us to be sick and then get treated? Also, prevention is just stopping the disease to occur, or what you can do to prevent the disease from occurring. For example, right now we are living in a first world country where we know that there are a lot of lifestyle diseases that will catch up with us in age. For example, if we just look at our lifestyle, what do we do on a daily basis? What can we do to prevent diseases like cardiovascular diseases like diabetes mellitus, diseases like hypertension, because these are diseases that will eventually catch up with us. And then, So for me, I am passionate about these preventive measures because most of the people I meet, if I ask them about what were you doing, what have you done with your life, and you realize that there is only one thing that people did, that they did not care of their life, they did not care of their health when they were healthy enough. For example, these are simple things like taking a walk, doing exercise, taking care of the food we eat, which food do we eat, and also what are our environments, which environment do we live. These really, really play a major role, especially when let's say we're in our mid years or 50s and above, for the diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and also stroke. So it is very important for us as diasporas in Kenya to take care of our lives, our health before the disease begins. Because if we wait until the disease begins, maybe we will not be able to, the disease might not be treated, or it might shorten our life expectancy. And we have all these things in our homes. We can do exercise through just walking or through talking to friends, there are several avenues. And I'm very sure most of us knows what we should be doing to prevent all these diseases that will or might occur in our later years. Thank you, Dan.
So when we talk about cardiovascular diseases, what are we talking about? Like we know that in Europe we have different kinds of diseases, which most likely Europeans are to get. And are there like, do you think they're like Kenyan, African diseases which we are most likely to get and where we should be on the lookout for because of our nutrition or because of our lifestyle or because of our weight? Who knows? Anyone, as a Rhoda, it's upon to you to answer that question, and anyone else from the doctors who has a feeling they want to say something, always feel free to turn on or raise up your hand so that we can just choose you. Yeah, Rose, okay. What do you think about that?
I think we'll talk about the most common cardiovascular diseases like hypertension. Hypertension, especially in Kenyan community, is on the rise, or even our parents. I think each and every person here have a relative or someone they know that have hypertension. Hypertension can start by the age of 35 or even earlier, depending on the lifestyle you are leading, or it can also start later. So for us to prevent something like hypertension is through when we take care of our health. Especially for me, I think is through exercise. Exercise is a major preventative measure for someone to get hypertension, or even dietary measures like food we eat. Yeah. Thank you.
Let me just add to what Rosemary has just said. She majorly talked about the primary that is preventing hypertension from somebody from getting hypertension. We advise you to do a lot of exercise, to watch what you eat. But then what happens when somebody has got hypertension? Because like we already said, a lot of our parents or a lot of people that we know that are 35 and above have got high blood pressure. Sorry for those who don't understand what hypertension is. Hypertension basically means high blood pressure. And once you have the diagnosis of high blood pressure, this does not mean your life gets over. Of course, the primary prevention did not work out, but we still have other steps of prevention. We have the secondary prevention, that is preventing this high blood pressure from further complications. When we talk about further complications, we talk about stroke in form of hemorrhages. We talk about heart attack. We talk about kidney failure. We talk about a lot of stuff with the lungs. Blood pressure is one of these things that people tend to ignore. Causes of headaches. People just have headaches and they don't know where the headaches come from. They use painkillers to treat headaches when the headaches come from the hypertension. Yeah, and after using this medication for a long time, there's a rebound effect. The medication leads to more headache, and the hypertension also leads to more headache, and you wonder what's wrong with you. So, such are the things like secondary prevention, getting screened, knowing your blood pressure. If you've got relatives in Kenya, or if your parents live with you here in Germany, that device that you use to measure blood pressure, I think it should be like 20 euros or stuff like that. These are important things that each and every household at least need to have, because sometimes a patient comes to us in the emergency room, you ask them, what other diseases do you have? I'm like, ich bin gesund, I'm healthy. But then you look at the card, this patient has got a blood pressure of 180, and they tell me they have been healthy. So is a hypertension that is almost turning to a dangerous hypertension, manifesting into signs as though not heart attack, but symptoms that may may look like heart attack. So prevention is not just about exercising, it's not just about eating good. If you are past this stage, it's always okay to do secondary prevention to prevent it from being worse. Hypertension or other high blood pressure can be managed very well. I mean, you can have hypertension, and if you change your lifestyle, you might not need the medication. But if you miss the primary prevention, please do the secondary prevention and do the tertiary prevention just to prevent other complications. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I see we have questions. We'll have a questionnaire round like at the end of the session. I'd just like to go through the points so that we don't leave out any important information which could save a life. Yeah, Dr. Gerald Otieno is right. It is like, those are the silent killers. I'm currently working on a video on that. The silent killers, diabetes, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, those are silent killers, and cancer. Mostly the symptoms come very late, and when they come over with a stroke, or they come over with death, or with devastating results. So those are one of the reasons we have to go for checkups. I'll give it back to Dr. David Tuku. What do you think as we proceed on this session? Also, tell us whether there's some urological important prevention medicine we should be on the lookout for.
A very good question, Daniel. Actually, you asked before a very interesting question. What is specific to us as Kenyans that we need to look out for? And what would actually hit us than would hit, Germans. And as you were talking about it, I thought there's some things I would consider that Kenyans are very prone to, or people of African origin, since I understand they're more than just Kenyans in the group. And one of those things are stress related. Most of our people come to this country with a lot of weight on their shoulders and work very hard, and the hustle is real. They're on the grind Monday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday. And this is also one of the causes for stress. So you need to watch out on that and make sure that you have a good balance. You know where your boundaries are, because otherwise your body will tell you that. And usually your body will tell you that, but you get in a disease because the body is telling you, I'm not at ease, I'm not comfortable with what you're doing with me. So it's a symptom that the body is giving you feedback and telling you, hey, watch out, I'm not okay, I'm not fine. And then the second thing I would say, when we talk about preventive medicine, I tend to have a more holistic person, a holistic approach to people, because I believe we have created body, soul, spirit. So it is important to be in balance also mentally. When you talk about mental health, there are also preventive measures that you can take to that. So I think Kenyans in Germany or Africans in Germany are also prone to mental health issues. People are going through isolation. You've left your family, you're in stress, you're trying to make a living. It's not easy in this country. And so it's important for you to have some preventive measures and have people around you. So coming back now to your question about urology, this is something I've been doing for years. Most of you, when you wake up, what do you drink? Probably coffee or tea. And that's why urology comes in. I deal in urology, so anything concerning the urogenital tract. And one of the best preventive measures, if you want to avoid what? I want you to avoid seeing me with kidney stones. I want you to avoid seeing me with issues concerning your kidney failure and this kind of thing. So when I wake up, the first thing I drink, having understanding that my body is made up of 70 to 80% of water, take water. Just take water to around 300 to 500 ml every morning when you wake up. And you'll be amazed, some of your headaches will go. Some of your migraines you have for years, you'll be having for years, will go. And at that juncture, MG, cheers. So it's important and to understand your body and to know that And I have some tomatoes I'm growing at the moment. I'm a passionate urban farmer. And I've noticed, if I don't give my tomatoes even one, they're very small seedlings. If I don't give them water, in the evening, they are sagged down. But if they get water, after a couple of hours, they're standing like a straight one. So that's exactly, to give you an analogy when it comes to urology. Preventive measure number 1 in urology: viel trinken. Drink. What are you supposed to be drinking? 2 to 3 liters of fluids, water, juice. Please avoid soft drinks, alcohol in moderation. You know, and the other thing with the Kenyan people, when you open that bottle of nice whiskey, gin or rum, you want to finish it. So let us be in moderation. And so back to you, Daniel. Those are the major. And of course, screening. You need to screen for your prostate. This applies, of course, for the men in that case, as an age of 40. And it's important again to know that as a Black person, there are statistics showing, especially from the US, that as a Black person, as a Black male, you're more prone to getting prostate cancer than a white male. So when you have that knowledge, it's important to, at the age, when you're turning 40, one of the things you need to know, like you know your PIN number on your phone, is your PSA levels. If I ask you your PIN number from your account number, your bank, or your phone, you will tell me that offhand. You don't think about it. And so if you're over 40, you're in this group. Next time I'm meeting you, I'll ask you your PSA levels, and please tell me your PSA levels. Don't start giving me reasons and excuses. So sorry, Daniel,
in our last camp, I was asking how much water they actually drink, the patients. And someone just told me, in Kenya, we don't drink water. Yeah, it's soda. Nah? So it was like, for me, the kidneys, if I give it back to Dr. Rosemary, just realize how important water is for us, and we don't drink enough water. So Davey, how much water do I have to drink per day? How many liters?
2 to 3 liters. And again, now this is where the internal medics come in and help me, because as a neurologist, I tell you 2 to 3 liters. You have to take 3 liters. Then an internal medicine comes and tell you your heart can't handle 3 liters, you know? So if you have any heart issues, just make sure you're balancing around 2 liters. But most of you, I see, are young, fresh, and full of energy, you know, so make sure you get in 2 to 3 liters. And how do I do it? I don't take 2 liters of water at once, or 2 to 3 liters of fluids at once. I spread it over the day. Start your first morning. The first thing in the morning, please, get a glass of water. You can put in some lemon to pimp it up, or some cucumber, or some multivitamin tablets, whatever. But start with the 300 to 400. Then spread it out by the late morning. Take another 500. Then early afternoon, take another 500. And again in the evening when you come after your coffee. Because what some of you most of the times, you go for coffee. You know what coffee does? It dehydrates you. And then you wonder you have a headache, and you wonder why you're feeling comfortable, because your body is screaming for water. So 2 to 3 liters of fluids, make it tea, let it be water, and this kind of thing. Yeah.
For those who don't drink mineral water, 2 liters, like a normal glass of water is 200 ml. So we are talking about 10 glasses per day, minimum of 10 glasses per day. So just, think about it and ask yourself, when was the last time you drank 10 glasses on a day? Okay, I would like to give it on this place to Maria Chega. Our time is running very fast, and I really want all of the topics to be handled. That's why we have talked about medical history, we have talked about drugs, and Marie will just help us to understand, when you go to a doctor, what is the necessary and the most important information you should be giving. When I love my people, I love them. I have Eritrean patients, I love Nigerian patients. And what I realize is, when I'm working with German patients, they're very structured. They know what they want to say, they say it, and it's over, and you already have a picture of what is happening. But when I start asking the medical history of an African, until you get to the point of what is really disturbing the person, I've already spent half an hour sojourning and asking and asking and asking. So Marie, where what do we have to change in this sector? And you also have a short presentation. Maybe you can make her a co-host so that she can just show us what she prepared. And just for the Kenyans in Europe to know, if you want to get the best medical treatment, what are the important things you have to talk about? Leave everything aside. Mambo ya shamba, mambo ya sijui ya nini. They're not important. Just what do you have to focus on? How can I know my body better? Thank you.
Asante sana, Daniel. Yeah, I'll talk about shortly two things. One, this what we call anamnese. That is what the doctor asks you every time you go to the doctor. Our aim is not to know your private life. I know some of the questions you ask are private, but the aim of all these questions is usually to, from the main information we are giving, to find out what are the core information as a doctor do we need. And this comes sometimes structured in different, the general questions. That means when you come to the doctor, I'll ask you, how are you? Mostly that is not usually directed, I'm good, I've been doing this and this with my work. Mostly it's usually directed to knowing you, like, how have you been doing, is mostly directed to your medical situation. That means that is the opportunity you have to give out what is your actual, what are your actual symptoms. So you say, I have headaches, I have, chest pains that are on my left side going to somewhere else, or you give details, like you try to describe as detailed as possible the kind of symptoms you're having, so that helps the doctor to find out or to think about the kind of diagnosis they're supposed to give you in the right direction. And then trying as much as possible, if it's pain, give a direct description of what kind of pain is it. Is it a burning pain? Is it a pins and needles kind of pain that comes by nerves, kind of nerve pain? Is it, let's say, pain when you're having stones in your gallbladder? Is it in German we say a colic active pain? It's like a pain that is, how do I describe it in English? My English is having problems. Like there are different kinds of ways you can describe pain that can help a doctor know exactly what problem are you having. A garlic stone pain is sometimes different with the pain when someone needs an appendectomy because the appendicitis is highly inflamed, or someone who has a disease called when you have lower bowel inflammatory infection. That means when your doctor asks you what kind of pain do you have, try to describe as much as possible exactly how you feel, and that usually helps the doctor also knowing much more directly what exactly kind of pain you're having. And then when did the pain start, or when did everything start? Try to have a time span. Did the pain, is it an acute pain that started 2 days ago, or is it a gradual pain that has been starting weeks or months, only that now it has become so intensive that you needed to look for a doctor? Such kinds of information is usually important. And then I know there's a part of information that sometimes people ask, is it necessary for you to know this? And this asking of this question in medicine, we call it anamnese. And then that is the first part is for us is usually important to know what are the symptoms that are affecting you right now. And then there's another part, especially if we are trying to look for diseases, whether they are familial, let's say like diabetes or tumors, cancer diseases. We start asking you now about things that are affecting your family. We call it the family anamnese. That means I want to find out if we find out that you have a colorectal cancer, are you the first person, or let's say breast cancer? And then I'm asking you, is there someone from your direct family? Don't give us information about a friend, who has it. No, direct family means mother, father, brother, sister, your direct aunt, your direct uncle, your direct cousin. Those are like, I think the Germans usually grade family in, like family, erste grades, family of the first grade of the family, second, third. Mostly we are usually concerned about the first, and when it goes so much the second, that means if I find out that a patient has colorectal cancer, and then I ask you, is anyone from your mother's side or your father's side affected by this? Then give that list. That is where you're not trying to find out how many family members you have. It's just trying to know, is this something that is affecting the family? And it's not only asking if you're having colorectal cancer. I'm not asking only colorectal cancer. You give all the types of cancers maybe affecting your direct family, so that you know, is this something familiar that one can say, okay, let's say if I find out someone has cancer, breast cancer with 35, that will help me as a doctor also advise you, ask you, do you have a daughter, do you have a son? So that you can start the preventive medicine for them earlier. If you got a diagnosis of breast cancer, let's say with 35, that means the preventive examination for your children or for someone else in your family, when we realize it comes so frequently in your family, it means I will start, I'll tell you, when your daughter gets to the age of 20, please tell them to now start going for mammography and all this checking, because you want to, the aim of this question is trying to get the tumor before it even gets to such a part. And then there's another part of anamnese, that is asking you what kind of job you do. It's not that we are asking you so that we can judge you of what kind of work you do. Some of the diseases that can come up are usually caused maybe because you are in the work that you do is exposing you to some kind of diseases that appear maybe when you are at 50. Let's say, like, I think, for example, I'm not sure if in Kenya we've stopped working with asbestos. For example, someone working in a place where they deal with material that has asbestos for so long, and then they come at the age of 40 or even young age of 35, late 30s and 40s, and they have lung problems, then I'm interested to know, is where you're working, are you exposed to some things that can affect your lungs? That is the aim of us asking about your, what kind of work do you do? It's just for us to have a background. Does it have a relation to the symptoms or the disease you're having? Or asking about things like, how often do you go to the toilet? It is not with bad intention. It's just, for one, if let's say someone has a chronic kidney disease, they rarely go to the toilet, normally at least once or twice or thrice in a day. For doctors, I know yours is a different case. Sometimes you do not have the time to go to the toilet when things get busy, but for a normal person, at least going, let's say, twice or thrice for a short call should be a normal thing. And if I have a patient who has barely gone to the toilet the whole day, for me as a doctor, it's just alarming to know, oh, there's something wrong, I need to react quickly. Or if someone comes and they ask you how that is the short call. The long call, if you come and tell me sometimes I have constipation, sometimes I have diarrhea, it's not for me to judge you or anything. It just helps me know, okay, look at your age. Oh, this is someone who is around 50 or 60, has been having changes in their stool. Sometimes they have obstipation, sometimes they have diarrhea. For me, it's alarming. It depending with the age and all of these other questions that I ask, then I know, maybe this person has a colorectal tumor that is blocking them from and having these changes in their stool, whatever. Such kind of things just help us. Or a young patient comes and tells us that they've been having diarrhea like 10 to 20 times in a day, they can barely come out of the house. It is just for us to know, okay, now I should be thinking of diseases like these chronic diseases of the dam. All these, they're just questions that help a doctor go, like, give you the right diagnosis, help them to get to the right diagnosis. That's why the questions we ask, it is important to give out that information. We sometimes have patient clientele that one gives so much information, some is not necessary. And I know it's difficult for a patient to know what information can I give. Everything that the doctor asks you, just try to give as honestly as possible. I know sometimes some questions you can be asked and they feel too much, like they feel too personal. This is your doctor, just try to be as open as you can, because there's also the patient-doctor and confidentiality. So you shouldn't be worried that whatever you talk with the doctor, atenda anze kuambia a neighbor or start telling other neighbors and. It's just to help the doctor come to the right diagnosis. That is just grow everything I think about the anamnesis, just to give you an idea why all these questions. They're just to help the doctor get to the right diagnosis. And then I had prepared like some, I'm trying to share my screen. Let me see if I can do that. Share screen.
Okay, so while she's looking for a screen, I'll just like to take a part here. Checkups. You're always talking about checkups. There's a list I recently published in the group. I'd just like to go through first. If you are in Europe and you have an insurance, a government insurance, not a private insurance. If you're above 35 years of age, you can do checkups for every 3 years. Your insurance pays for it. If you're a man or a male and you're above 45, just like Dr. David said, you should go for cancer and skin screening. Yeah. And if you are, or every one of us in this group, when you reach 55 and above, every one of us here should be able to get a coloscopy done because of intestinal diseases. If you have parents or siblings or relatives who had cancer of the first degree, like Mary already stated, there's your mother, father, brother, sister. If you have cancers like that, you should start doing the screenings a bit earlier, very, very early. And I always say at the age of 30 for men, and for female, maybe 5 or 10 years later. But for men, it's very important that you know that if there's intestinal cancer in your family history, then you should begin doing the checkups early enough. Yeah, we have the presentation. So yeah, Mary, you can proceed.
Okay, this part is just a bit of when you ask yourself the question. I'll give an example. It may be you or someone in your area is all of a sudden they get so sick, and then that they need this, what we call the CPR. There's some vital signs that even anyone can check. This part is more important. It will be more important practically, but just to give you an idea of if it happens to you or you're somewhere and then someone just collapses, what are the things that you can do to save that person's life before you call the emergency number, which is the 112 in Germany. I'm not sure what emergency number we have in Kenya or other countries, so forgive me for that one. I just know the one in Germany. It's also when you're calling, with these few steps, you can be able to help even the one on the other side to know, okay, before they come, what are the things they should be prepared for. Some of these signs, they are called the ABCDE rule. Saizi ni kama you are all in class now, so bear with me. Like the A means the airway. What does it really mean with airway? Let's say you find someone, it could be you, it could be anyone in your colleague or whatever has collapsed. What are some of the things? Airway is checking if there's anything preventing them from getting enough air. That means, I'll give an example by children. Sometimes when they're playing with the Legos, they could swallow, or just the way kids are, they like putting things in their nose, mouth, whatever. And then they put, let's say, some Lego things in their nose, and then their airway is blocked, so they're not getting air. Why this ABCD rule? It's important. You check the airway. That means if you find someone has collapsed, your kid or whoever, you check, do they have anything that is blocking their airway? Just check the mouth, the nose. If it's there and you can remove it, that's the best way to solve that problem, and everything is solved. The second thing is checking whether if there is nothing blocking the airway, that means the nostril and inside the mouth. The next thing will be checking breathing. Are they breathing? And how would you check? You can check by putting your ear next to their nose. That's how you can somehow hear if they're breathing. And at the same time, you can check if the chest is going up and down. That will help you know, okay, if you can hear nothing, like this moist, when you're putting your ear close to their airway and you cannot see their chest going up and down, that is like a sign to you, okay, if you know how to do a CPR, you do it, and then get someone else to call the 112 and say you have someone who is collapsed, there's someone already doing the CPR. The C stands for circulation. These are mostly checking, like my colleague said, the high blood pressure. Most people, I think in most German houses, they do usually have the blood pressure measuring devices. That means you can easily, you're in the house, you can easily put it and know, does this person have a hypertension? That means the blood pressure is hitting 200, or do they have a hypertension? DIF stands for disability. Here you can check for things, maybe someone has an epileptic seizure. What can you do? You can be around them, make sure that they are not in an area where they can hurt themselves, and you can be able to prevent them either from falling or just being there, so that you can also take the time. How long did this seizure take place? But that one is a topic for my colleague in the neurology, can do that better for me. And then E stands for exposure. This means what are the first things that you see in an emergency situation? Did you see them falling? Did you see them hurt themselves? Did they fall on a knife and then it's cut? Then you know, okay, the emergency comes from a burn, comes from a cutting, comes from an injury. And then these are just some of the things I've mentioned. The first thing is you look at the chest. Is it going up and down? You're listening to the breaths. If there's no response, that is the time you call 112. And if you can do CPR, the better. It's usually when the rule is doing 30 chest compressions and giving someone 2 breaths. But most people cannot do this. That's why for anyone who is not in the medical field, as long as you just know how to do the 30 compressions, that should be enough for whoever you're trying to save. And every compression can save a life. And then some of I'll just mention some have already been mentioned. Some of the emergencies, or if you know the patient has this, or if you notice, or if you know they have a medical history of this, these are just like some of the things you should think about immediately and call 112, and so that they can help. Or these are some of the diseases that can lead to someone losing their consciousness that will need for one to call the emergency number, such as heart attacks. When someone says they have pain on their chest that is going all over to their left arm, or sometimes there are people who have even pain on their chest, but it's going on the right side. Pulmonary embolism is something that you more notice because of how they breathe. They have dyspnea, that they're not getting enough air And if you are lucky enough to have something to measure how much oxygen they're getting, well for you. Atrial fibrillations, people feel them in the sense that you feel like your heart is beating at a rate, it's so fast, you sometimes feel like you're not getting enough air. Those are like the one symptoms of trying to tell you, okay, it's time to look for an emergency department or call someone to help you. Metabolic acidosis can come from different things. Mostly it affects people with diabetes. I'll not get so much into it. I'll just say, if you know you're a diabetic and you have low sugar levels, always have some glucose in your, like most people who are diabetic and they know the diagnosis, at least they know the one symptoms when they should look for a doctor. Or diabetes type 1 is usually a bit difficult to explain. We'll have another Zoom session for all this. This is just to mention some of the internal emergencies that, especially if you know that someone is suffering from, and then you see all of a sudden the situation has changed, when you know when to call a doctor. Severe asthma and pneumothorax and COPD, these are things you'll also know more from how you're breathing. When you can barely get air and you feel like you can't. Severe asthma people with asthma will know how this comes. You'll feel that they are wheezing, you feel they are also holding their chest because they can't get enough air. That is a warning symptom. If they have their asthmatic devices with them, you can help take them and help them to inhale. And if you cannot, again, dial the 112 immediately. Anaphylaxia can happen to anyone. You can go to a restaurant, eat fish, and maybe it's a new kind of food that you're trying and then you react badly. If you do not have the emergency kit, always call 112. Anaphylaxia can happen by so many things, but mostly it's also your breathing is disturbed. Most of these things, you notice them mostly through your breathing. That's why breathing is also one of the emergency steps that you check for someone in this situation. Severe anemia, again, when your hemoglobin level, that is the level that informs the doctor how severe your anemia is. Mostly you'll notice maybe you've already noticed only that how Kenyans we are. We wait for the last minutes before we look for a doctor. You've been feeling, let's say you are tired the last few days. You do something simple, you're tired. You can barely go up the stairs. That means your breathing becomes severe with time. But when you're having severe anemia, you can even collapse. Or some people, even as a sign of anemia, you start getting this, your heart is beating so fast, like you get heart palpitations. And for the rest is burn patient, you can easily notice. Stroke is something, there are two types of strokes. That one, again, I will leave for my colleague in the neurology, maybe you can discuss, but something maybe that you can easily notice is some patients wake up and then all of a sudden their face is hanging, or you can barely speak, or you notice you tell them something, they want to tell you something, but they can't tell you because something, an embolism is blocking somewhere, so they can perceive what you say, but they can barely. But most of the time, what people notice is all of a sudden someone is just different from how you know them, or that their face is hanging. That is like a sign of stroke. Again, 112 immediately. And yeah, this I think are too medical, but all this that I've mentioned, there are things that, these are the reversible things. Anything that is blocking your airways, when you, as the more quickly you remove it, the more quickly the problem is solved. And yeah, these are just more detailed information about whatever I've said. And my medical people will understand, but the aim of all this is just knowing what to do when someone just collapses in front of you. React, check, are they breathing? Is there anything hindering their breathing that I can remove? Yes, remove it. If you can't do the CPR, well and good. They usually 30, just cram the number 30 chest compressions, and you're good to go. Call someone to help you, call the emergency number, and you're good to go. Yeah, I think that's all from my side. So much information in such a short time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. We are running out of time, as I can see. I want to leave enough time for the questionnaire. Very well. These things are important. I just tell you guys, watch this video again and again and again and again, because I don't think you can cram everything, but at least you know there's a lot of important information in this video on YouTube. I would like to give it to David. There's a question which just arose to the topic which I asked him to talk about, is the health system in Germany. Just shortly, where do I go? How do I find a doctor? Whom do I need to call? What do I need after surgery? All of this stuff. Just a small, let's say, overview about these things.
So basically in Germany, you have an insurance system and an insurance system that is very intertwined. One of the qualifications and requirements for coming here and staying in this country is that you have a health insurance. So I hope everybody who is listening to my voice has a health insurance. So I'll touch basically on the insurance system. It's very easy. Once you register at the Stadthaus or the place where you stay, there are doctors around you and in your city. And it is not required, but it is advisable for you to have a general practitioner. This is your first address. When you have any issues, except emergencies like Maria has just covered, this is your first address. This is the first person that you go to, and you let them know what is going on. So when you go to your general practitioner and they hear out your case, you've given out your history, like Dr. Maria said, very comprehensive history taking is needed. Then the general practitioner, the so-called Hausarzt, will channel you through the very complicated system. What do? If you go to a general practitioner, for example, and you tell them, oh, I have a problem peeing, I peed blood and I'm not doing well, the general practitioner knows, okay, I cannot solve this by giving you paracetamol or telling you to drink more. They will refer you. They will give you the so-called Überweisung that will take you to a urologist. So the urologist then will be the specialist in this case. So the system here is different. It's not like in Kenya, where you just go to the bank, you get your cash, you go to the doctor, and you are attended to by a specialist or whichever doctor you want to go to. It's also a bit wished for that you have your general practitioner around where you stay. And that's why he's also called the Hausarzt. So he should be close to your house. So when you have issues, when you need when you're sick, having a cold, you can't go to work, then you need a letter stating or a form stating that you're sick, you cannot go to work. This is where you get. So the moment you land in Germany, make sure you have a Hausarzt. Where do you get your Hausarzt? It's as easy as you Googling. Just Google around your place. There are very many websites offering opportunities for you to get a Hausarzt. Speak to Kenyans who are there before. Call us. Tell us which city you're in. It's as easy as just me, Hausarzt in Düsseldorf. And then you have hundreds and thousands of options. And so the trick is always go to a doctor whom you have a recommendation for. So either you're part of a community, you're part of the Kenyan community around you, you're part of the university community, you're part of a church community. And so you have people who can tell you that doctor is a good doctor. Because like in Kenya, we have all kinds of doctors in Germany as well. So when the specialist feels, or the general practitioner feels the need, you need to go to the hospital, they also refer you to the hospital. So you don't just take your pack your bags and you go to the hospital. It is expected in a normal scenario that you go through these 3 steps. You're a general practitioner, that's why it's very important. The house house is very important. The specialist, of course, is very important. And of course, that's when you enter the hospital, you are in the responsibility of the hospital. When you are discharged from the hospital, make sure 2 things. You get a discharge letter. This is entitled to you by law. Once you leave the hospital, don't leave any hospital without a discharge letter. And in a best case scenario, you're even getting all your examinations that they did on a CD. Germans are still trying to figure out what digitalization is, but we're heading there. Make sure you have something that your pictures, your CT scans, your MRIs. Why? Because getting them later will be very tricky. So in a nutshell, you need a health insurance, you need your house arts close to you. For guys who have the opportunity of being privately insured, we all know sometimes money makes the world go round. They can have their shortcuts around, but that does not apply to most of our people. For private insured people, you usually get a quicker appointment at the house arts, at the specialist, and all this kind of thing. But I just wanted to touch on what applies to most of us. Of course, there are exceptions to this. That is in a nutshell how the health system is. And the health system it's a good health system. It's a bit complicated. It's not very easy navigating it. And one thing, if you go to a hospital and you don't speak German, please do us a favor. Get somebody to come and translate your history. It is so frustrating having a patient. You ask them questions and they start talking to you in a language you don't understand. You want to help, but you can't help. So just think about these things, and you're not required to pay anything. They might ask you for some minor fees when you're registering to enter the hospital, but that is nothing to speak about. That is nothing to talk about. And again, when you're in emergency situations, then you can always you can go, of course, straight to the hospital. Then in that case, you call 112. And by law, you're entitled to help within 12 minutes if you live on a public street. It's important to know your rights. It's important to know what is, and if the ambulance comes, then they cannot just write you off. You're African, you don't have anything. 9, when you think and you will judge your situation as an emergency situation, then they should take you to the hospital. I hope I've covered everything. My dear colleagues, please feel free to add on something. But basically, that's how the system works.
Can I just add something on what David have said? I mean, we totally understand that some of us does not understand Germany because they've been here just maybe few months or few days and then they fell sick. I want to tell you that the fact that you don't understand German is not a reason for you not to go to any general practitioner or to the hospital. There are people who understand English. Most people in Germany understand English, and we Kenyans, we know that 99% of us understand English. And if not, there are also people who understand Kiswahili. So that should never be a reason as to why you die homesick because you don't understand the language. I just wanted to say that so that most of us, or few of us who still don't understand the language and are scared about it, because I can remember when I was new here, you have a situation, you are scared and you sit home. The help is not going to come when you sit home. Just come, even if you don't speak any language, just come and we will talk with our hands and feet and get you help needed. Thank you.
Daniel, how much time do we have left? Because I wanted to just add on to something what Maria said.
Okay, not so much time. Let us just wrap up the system, and then I'll give it over to you. Yeah, I think we'll take 10 minutes, and then we go to the questionnaire if Caroline is okay with it. Yeah, definitely. Okay, then
that's fine. We can extend it to 10 more minutes, at least maybe till, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very interesting session now. I'm already, I can feel it now that information is coming in, and very important information. I just wish we will just grasp on it. The other thing we need to talk about is also the ambulance. If you try to contact your general practitioner and he is not open for what reason whatsoever, on holidays or he's gone home, he has done firearmed, then it is very important when your symptoms are increasing, you can call the ambulance and you will not be asked to pay for a cent if you're insured. Most of the people that are afraid, when they come, I'll have to pay and I don't know what, and all that stuff doesn't count in Germany. If you have chest problems, pain, or anything, and they're increasing, you can always call 112. And if you just have general symptoms like a cold or some other small problems which can be solved at home, or you already got antibiotics and you're getting better, but there's still something which has come on top, then you have 116, 117. You also have, we always have doctors, even when your family doctor has closed, we always have Bereitschaftsdienste. Those are doctors who just sit there and wait for these cases which did not see the Hausarzt. So you have the possibility to go by foot to the next practice in every town, around 10 to 15 kilometers away. You always have a Bereitschaftsdienst. And in every big town like Munich or like Düsseldorf, you have 2 or 3 of them. So you can just go there, they're sitting there and they're waiting for such cases when your doctor is on holiday and whatsoever. So don't sit at home and vumilia. That is what Dr. Gerald Otieno is going to talk to us about, the vumilia mentality. Don't just say, I'll wait until morning. Please, don't wait until morning. When you call 116, 117, they will talk to you. And when they realize, okay, it's not a red flag, they'll just tell you what to do. They'll maybe connect you to a doctor who will then tell you what you need to take and all of this stuff. You'll get all of this advice, all of this Beratung umsonst. So it is your right, and it is important that you know that you have these possibilities. Of course, when I do Bereitschaftsdienste, I hate it when people call me because of nonsense, but I'd rather answer 100 nonsense questions to pick up the one case which is very important. So this online program which Germany has created, the 116, 117, is very important for you. And if you have excruciating pain or your symptoms are getting worse or someone is unconscious, then call the note at 112. Thank you very much. I'll give it back to Gerald.
Thank you very much, Daniel. So I just wanted to, before I talk about the persevering mentality, I just wanted to add a bit onto what Maria already said, the anamnese, the patient's history. Why do we stress on that? It's not just for us to help you, or important for us to help us understand what's wrong with you, but you are in an emergency room. The anamnese is more important because it determines the kind of station you land into as a patient, or it determines the kind of urgency a doctor needs to act. It determines the speed. It determines where you land. Let me just give you a classical example. You come to me in the Aufnahme, Notaufnahme, neurology. Sometimes we are not in the Notaufnahme. Sometimes we have to be called from our station. So the nurses tell us, okay, we have a patient who's got headache since 5 days, 6 days. What is my first reaction? At 5 Tagen, it can wait. But if you go there and you know and understand your symptoms, and you say, you've got headache since 5 days, and since you are careful enough, you realize your headache comes with stiffness of neck, then I'm not going to say, okay, it's been since 5 days, it can wait. It's my responsibility to realize that a headache that comes with stiffness of neck could be a meningitis, and I have to respond as quick as possible. Pass out if you are a mother to young kids who's been having these headaches, and one day you realize the neck is just stiff, and it's not like, you know, the musculature, the tonus is just high, just out of nowhere. Please, 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 those are red flags. You know, I was reading through the statistics, the causes of death among immigrants. You wouldn't believe it. If you look at the causes of death among the Germans, it's mostly cardiovascular, like we said, heart attack, stroke, and stuff like that. But among the Ausländer, there are infectious diseases. Yeah, what are infections? Infections could be pneumonia. It could be meningitis. It could be infection of the bladder or infection of which other organ. Those are the number one killers of the immigrant. Infections, or even parasites. We come from Africa. We've been exposed to different kind of foods and stuff like that. So this is why it's so important to always tell the doctor, even if you don't think it's important, if you are like back at home 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, and you come back to Germany and you've got symptoms that no one really tends to understand. You might think the doctor is not helping you or stuff like that, but you might be leaving an important bit of information that is very, very vital to us, because it doesn't matter how intelligent a doctor is. Something like a parasite or infection caused by a parasite, it is not something that I'm just going to diagnose just at once. A quick info, parasitology is not something that is being taught in the German universities. I had to do parasitology, but as a VALFAC, you had to choose if you want to do parasitology as an extra course, which means most German doctors, or most white doctors, might not really come to this idea it might be a parasite if you didn't tell them you are in Africa, or rather you are in some part of Asia doing Ualau. So these are a tiny bit of information. Please know your bodies, yeah? Just don't go to the doctor and say, I have stomach pain, because if you have, abdomen is big, tell them, is it right, left, is it up, down? Having said, I'll go to the last bit of persevering. Kuvumilia. Why do we stress on not holding on for so long? Because depending on what you have, the stage at which we catch it matters a lot. It matters a lot. I mean, most of the audience here, we are young people, so most of us assume it's going to be okay with time. It's going to be okay with time, which is okay. Most things that people suffer, they just disappear in thin air. We also don't encourage you to be coming to the house that's by each and every Kleinigkeiten. That is why we talked about understanding your body. But if you have got this pain that is stubborn, you're like, nah, I will go tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, you don't get time, and you push it and push it. What happens if you are a chronic pain patient is that your body, the body is a very interesting thing. It recalibrates itself, and your pain threshold becomes this big if you don't use medication to handle your pain. Your body raises the threshold of pain. So you might just be persevering, but the magnitude of infection that you have does not correlate to the clinical symptoms that you manifest. So that if you go to the Notaufnahme, they'll ask you, how big is your pain on a scale of 0 to 10? Since you've been this person who perseveres, your pain threshold might really be a little bit high, which they presume for Black people they wrongly presume that we are, somehow resistant to pain. But if you develop this mentality of, persevering, you physiologically increase your pain threshold so that you go to the Aufnahme and you've got abdominal pains, and you say, okay, I think my pain is like 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10, I would not admit you. I would not admit you for further examination, because I'd say, okay, just take Ibo, just take paracetamol and go back home. But if this your 3 out of 10 has been you've subjectified it to be like that because your threshold has been raised, it hinders us to maybe you have appendicitis. And when mtu akuvimlia, you are this person who perseveres. The pain that you have is different to somebody who always reacts to pain constantly and gets themselves checked. So that's one very important, the pain threshold, and just the doctor not getting the clear picture of what you have. The second thing is, if you continue persevering, you might be having a chronic disease. I mean, we live in a place where we've got these lifestyle diseases. Unfortunately, everybody knows a person that has got cancer. Everybody knows a relative, a close friend. Unfortunately, also young people. So depending on what kind of cancer you have, cancer can be treated if detected early. So if we summarize everything, if we develop this positive mentality, or if we just develop these habits of getting ourselves checked regularly, we might, you don't have even to reach at that stage where you have to persevere pain, because you go through this regular process of being checked up. You go through this process of taking your own vitals. Sometimes you don't have to go to the hospital to get your blood pressure checked. It's important for each and every household to have these simple things: a thermometer, blood pressure, or pulse oximeter. This basic stuff, it saves you a lot. And please stop this mentality of persevering. As I close, I'll just give a brief case of this Nigerian patient that I saw just a few days to Christmas. All these guys had been having headaches and chronic headaches. And just as we Africans, we persevere. So he goes to Uni Clinic Bonn, he goes to the north of Name, and yeah, they do their stuff, and they give the letter like David said. And they say this patient is got product of migraine headaches, okay? So the patient went back home, but the headaches are not getting any better. So he comes to us in the Aufnahme. I was on the Aufnahme that day, and I read the report from the Uni. I'm like, okay, from what the patient said, maybe the people at the Uni were right. But then I think to myself, what would trigger a young person, a young Black person who is not even confident in the language, to leave the comfort of the house around Christmas to come to the hospital, ready to spend a few nights in the hospital on a Christmas day? I mean, I was conflicted. I was like, okay, let me just send him home. The only people did the right thing. But then after I talked to my consultant, we decided, let's admit this patient and let's do a brain imaging and let's do a spinal tap. Long story short, we came up with a diagnosis that could have not been discovered. And he kept on persevering. Good news is that we could help him. So please understand your body, know the limits, stop persevering pain. You pay for their live streaming here, and follow the right channels, and always seek the second opinion. Sometimes it's not going to be found at the first attempt, not even the second attempt. But one day, if your problems are not psychological related, which is a topic on its own, they need to be found. Don't let anybody tell you are a psycho, because for me to tell you are a psycho, I have to prove otherwise, that there's nothing wrong with the body for me to come up with the diagnosis of a psycho. That being said,
definitely, I have to cut it short because time is running up. When we are still on pain, only one more minute. Painkillers, Rosemary, painkillers. Many of us chew painkillers like bubble gums, and this is basically a problem. Yeah, when you have a surgeon and you have an internist like me. Yeah, for me, if a person comes with pain, I give them painkiller. When he sees the surgeon after seeing me, the surgeon says, "Oh, the person doesn't have any pain, so what should I do with them?" So it's the same way when you take painkillers from home. The topic of drug, we will, in the next round, this is just the first session, we'll do it again. We will go deeper into the topics, but just 1 minute so that Rosemary can talk to us about this, and then to David, and then we'll close to the questionnaire. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Dan, once again. Yeah. To the topic of painkillers, I think we are all Kenyans, and we know when we were young, our parents just gave us Panadol. It was a Panadol era, and all of us took Panadol for whichever kind of disease we had. You had malaria, you get Panadol. You had stomachache, you get Panadol. Everything was Panadol. And up to now, we have carried over the culture of painkillers. The only problem is that in Germany, the painkillers are not as available as in Kenya, whereby here there are categories of painkillers, whereby you can go to the apotheke and buy yourself ibuprofen or paracetamol, and any other painkiller on top of that, you cannot get it when you don't have a receipt, or it is not, you don't have the receipt given to you by the doctor. And I'm very sure most of us still take a lot of painkillers when they have any type of stomachache, any type of pain, headaches, back pains. Mostly people have headache, stomachache, back pains, leg pains. My advice to painkillers that it is okay to take a painkiller. It is, I mean, if I have a headache that I know my headache is maybe coming from not having slept well, not having drunk some water or anything, then the best thing for me to do, instead of just taking my ibuprofen 400 and swallow it, then I should do the necessary things. That means I should go get a sleep. If the whole night I was busy dancing, I should drink some water, or I should also eat something like backache. What does that mean? It might also mean other things. It might mean that maybe I just sat not well during the day, depending on where I work. So what do? Maybe I need to stretch myself more. I need to do something.
Is it me who has problem with the sound?
I can't hear myself.
It's all of us. It's like,
Something, there's a hitch somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Your audio system is not well. Yeah.
It's still bad.
Can you hear me?
Better.
Better? Okay, maybe I have to. Let me just switch off the whole system, and then.
Yeah, now we can hear you better.
You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, yes, now you're okay.
So where was I? I'm just saying that when it comes to painkillers, which we can take, but we are not supposed to take painkillers when we have a chronic pain. For example, if I always have a recurring headache, I should go and look for a doctor approval for me to approval instead of me always taking my painkiller. Can you hear me? Okay. And also other pain. So it means like if I have a pain that has been disturbing me for several months, the best way for what to do is to go to the doctor, let me get checked. And if nothing is found, then I should look for other alternatives instead of always taking the painkillers, because we know like all these painkillers that we are popping, for example, the ibuprofen, 400. I am working in a nephrology and I've seen several young people coming with acute kidney failure whereby they end up to dialysis because of the painkillers they've been taking. If you take paracetamol, is your painkiller to go, it can lead to liver failure. If we take, I mean, in Germany, we have these two, I think, that are commonly used. So just see, which pain am I dealing with? How long is this pain? Do I have other causes of this pain? Then I can say, okay, I'll take one and then look for the next medical approval or direction on what to do with the pain, because there are several ways to treat the pain apart from just swallowing the painkillers that we know. So be aware of painkillers. They can help you on a short notice, but they are not always the cures of our pain. Our pain stems from somewhere else. Our pain can be cured differently instead of popping our painkillers. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, we have to close the session. Caroline, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you for everyone for your time. I'm still here, by the way. Yeah, okay. We're still here. For those who have questions, we'll answer them. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, thank you so much. I wished we had done this before, and but it's never too late. I think from what I saw, we need to do these regular talks and maybe structure it to different topics, maybe even invite even all these insurance companies or anyone who can help us. And before we close the meeting, as a career development coach, I always tell people we come from, very humble backgrounds. We come and get those fat positions and we start eating 80 hours per week. And that is where we start going wrong. So also, work-life balance is very, very important. There are so many things that you might hinder because of stress. Yeah. So as you hit those, as you sign those work contracts, just also have it at the back of your mind. Your body is very, very important. When the body says no, it says no. And finally, and also stress from home. The way you can say no, learn to say no. If you can't help, just say you cannot, just trying to avoid that stress level. And finally, personally, a person who loves to sleep 8 to 9 hours, your body tells you you need to sleep. Please respect what your body says before you start now saying Doki and David with kidney stones, and yes, I wish you a wonderful, healthy evening. Thank you so much for joining the AG Career Hub community with a wonderful talk. I have dropped a Google form in case we may not be able to answer all your questions or you don't have the confidence. Feel free to write your question there. We will get back to you. Sign up, also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm not very good at doing that. Also subscribe at Doki's Advice YouTube channel, donate, and let's share the information out there. Let me stop the live recording, and then I think we can take 20 minutes the Q&As, because at least we close by 10, because some of us have to wake up very early in the morning.